Round 3 of the Brian Green Property Group New Zealand Rally Championship returns to the Lone Star Rally Canterbury. Christchurch City will host the start, but it's the fantastic roads north of Amberley which will host the stages. Ben Hunt leads the championship standings after a dominant performance on the fast South Canterbury roads. Robbie Stokes was plagued with handling issues in his similar Skoda WRC2 Evo, but a change in driving style kept him on the pace and in podium contention. But MRF Driver of the Day went to Josh Marston. Back in the championship after a 2-year break, his performance dedicated to his late mother, who'd encouraged him to go back into the NZRC in 2025.
Mum passed away last year, and so her signature's sitting on the roof end, so she's hanging out with us and thinking about her a bit.
Dean Buist, lucky to get away with a minor crash on his way to victory in the historic class. And Bryn Jones won a narrow victory in NZRC two-wheel drive after a day-long battle with Tim Mackesy. So looking at the points, Ben Hunt leads on 72 with Robbie Stokes 11 behind in second, Dean Buist leading the historics in fourth overall, and Bryn Jones fifth leading the NZRC two-wheel drive.
Christchurch City has a long-standing connection to Antarctica. It is one of only 5 official Antarctic gateway cities. As well as a centre for research and logistics, the International Antarctic Centre is a place where anyone can experience just a little of what it's like to be on the icy continent.
We're here at the International Antarctic Centre in Christchurch. It's been here for over 30 years, and this is the simplest way to experience what life in the Antarctic is like. We're about to jump in a Swedish Hägglund vehicle for a bit of a tour. Righto boys, this is going to be rough.
Just in the back, we are going to go over 2 hills in just a moment, so if you want to hang on, now's the time to hang on. We might get you airborne.
I could owe you some money. More noise and rev than movement. How are you not moving at all? So make points one
Well, that was quite something, Charlie. What do you recommend next?
Well, now that you're all hot and bothered, I'd recommend cooling down in the storm room.
Crikey.
Later on, we'll throw the drivers into an Antarctic storm and hope that they come out without frostbite. Lone Star Canterbury Rally is held over one day, 9 stages starting in Ashley Forest, before heading north to Cheviot and then returning to the forest for the penultimate stage, finishing with a blast around Euromark Motorsport Park at Ruapuna.
6 drivers in the Rally Challenge at Lone Star Rally Canterbury, 3 4-wheel drives and 3 2-wheel drives. It was Caleb McDonald who led the challenge cars into Stage 1, the famous Mount Grey Road which runs through the Ashley Forest and will be run in reverse on the penultimate stage later in the day. McDonald's Evo has proved to be unbeatable on the rally so far, but this morning it was Josh Keeley in his H6 Subaru who was fastest, well by just 0.1 of a second. Brian Green also having a good run through Mount Grey Road, only 20 seconds behind.
Darren Galbraith picking up where he left off at round 2, leading the two-wheel drive rally challenge, ahead of the Honda of Thomas Paul and the Nissan of Ian Warren. The Fiesta is more suited to the forest, but the Honda and Nissan will benefit from the higher top speeds on the public roads. Just 2 seconds separated Paul and Warren on the stage.
McDonald turned up the pace on Stage 2 to establish a lead over Keeley. In fact, his time was just under 10 seconds slower than the newest Skodas and Toyotas of Cat 1. And Stage 3, 30 kilometres, so a chance for McDonald to stretch the lead. But the stage would also be plagued with dust, and with McDonald running behind the Cat 1 cars, he is striking thick dust at some points on the stage.
To caution bridge 150.
Keeley's Subaru down on power compared to the 2-litre turbo Mitsubishi, but holding his own and keeping in touch on stages like this, a spin or a puncture could instantly change the outcome. Brian Green has plenty of experience dealing with dust on rallies. He was a regular in Asian rallies in the past. The veteran in third, but still in touch with the young chargers out front.
Darren Galbraith leads the Rally Challenge two-wheel drive, but on stage 4 the Fiesta engine had a terminal issue and he was forced to retire.
Yeah, unfortunately we've either blown a heat gasket or somehow the oil's got in the water anyway, so not worth risking the engine, so yeah, we've called it a day.
Thomas Paul was very lucky to avoid a big crash on stage 3 with this spin.
You got it, you got it, you got it. Good work.
So Warren took a narrow lead, which he held as they headed to service in Cheviot, despite discovering a water pump leak.
The power stage, Event Logistics Stage 5, was 20 kilometres long. The nature of these stages is why the drivers loved this event. A chance to test skill and bravery of driver and co-driver. Dust not such an issue here, with a small stretch of tarmac and a breeze blowing to clear the air. Keely's second on the stage, just 8 seconds slower than McDonald. Keely's really learning to get the best out of the Subaru H6 in his first season in the NZRC. But if the dust was okay here on the power stage, the next stage, Ram Paddock Road, would deliver major challenges for the drivers as they raced at nearly 200 kilometres an hour to the finish line. By the time the drivers returned to Ashley Forest for the reverse run of the morning stage, McDonald has stretched his lead to over a minute. This road, which is one of the main trucking routes through Ashley Forest, is better known for the 1.7 kilometre Ashley Forest Rally Sprint. But for drivers, it is the 13 kilometres of downhill to the Rally Sprint road which makes this one of New Zealand's great stages.
What a ride. It's a roller coaster through there. So good, so good. We're just chuckling away to ourselves coming through the finish because that was just so much fun. God, it's fun.
Keely again just slightly slower through the stage and finishing second in class. And a great day for our sponsor Brian Green, third place in the Rally Challenge. It's so good to see Brian back on these stages again, with such a long history of rallying over more than 50 years.
What a day it's been. Been great roads and that sort of thing. But dust has been a problem, obviously, running back here where we are. But the other competitors have been very good. A guy just thought us past on here, and I saw him. I thought it was not going to be very nice for us. But no, great rallying and really enjoyed it.
On stage 6, Thomas Paul gives us a view of just how hard he was pushing. The rev counter on the Honda pinned to the red line as he drives flat out through this amazing road.
Long 7 right, plus 200.
Unfortunately, the gearbox cried enough on the following stage and he retired. So that left Ian Warren in the Pulsar as the final Rally Challenge two-wheel drive finisher, taking maximum points after a great battle over the day. Caleb McDonald takes another win. We'll be looking to keep that up in the North Island. Keely in second, and Ian Warren the first of the two-wheel drives, just ahead of Brian Green, who completes the Rally Challenge four-wheel drive podium. Coming up, we meet the driver who's turned his passion for rallying into a business. For anyone passionate about rallying or racing escorts in New Zealand, Palmside is the go-to place for parts and preparation. The man at the helm is historic rally driver Dean Buist.
So we were in Hunay Road for years, and we had a wee car yard down there, and then we sort of were doing a lot of rallying, and we started selling rally tyres. I think we started selling Bridgestone because they were sort of, they were the tyre that we were using, and then we just started selling more and more parts. I used to buy a lot of stuff off Simon Curry in the day, and just then started importing parts for the escorts because we've always been keen on escorts. And yeah, just grown into what it is today. My dad said, because I was useless at school, I failed everything, he just said you can leave school as long as you had a job, so I just applied for any job. I even applied to be a typewriter technician. There'd be no future in that, would there? And then he took me on as an apprentice and in the workshop, and then I worked there for about 3 or 4 years, I suppose. When I worked for Dick Byrne, who used to own IF780. When Dick had it, Glenn sold it to Mike Turfus, and he painted it back to the Massport colours. Then when Mike sort of was over it, he sold it to Ashton, and then Ashton had it for 20 years, I think close to 20 years, and then he obviously crashed it and just sort of wanted to fix it, but just never got to fixing it. And then one day he decided that, we'd let us buy it. Well, it was really a box of bits. We, put it back together, and then we painted it back to the colours of Antarctic Taylor, just for something different. They just handle so well compared to other cars. It's just, I don't know, you drive other cars and you can get the speed out of them, but the Escort's just is forgiving and handles really well, And I think because everything's come forward, like suspension and tyres, and the difference between four-wheel drive and two-wheel drive is the grip, isn't it? A BDA is about 180 at the wheels. That's about all they have. You can get a bit more, but then you've got to put a bigger cam in it, and then you don't have the mid-range. And for gravel, you really sort of need that mid-range. So we don't get real hung up on dynos and horsepowers and stuff like that. Because I wasn't really that keen on rallying. The brothers started rallying, Bert and Krusty, or Krusty started first. And then I wasn't that keen, and I said, I'm not going to do that. It costs too much money. But then I sort of got the bug, bought my first Corolla off John Kennard. Well, I was started with a K25, and then we had a K70, T71. Every year you seem to get another car for whatever, we must have had more time on our hands in those days. And then we bought the old A92, and we ran that for quite a few years. And that was the car we did a lot of. We did Rally New Zealand and all that stuff, so that was probably the favourite car.
Dean Buist is the local driver with a big advantage here. Many runs up the Mount Grey stage, and he was fastest. And by stage 2, that lead would be out to 30 seconds, and Buist was only 2.5 seconds behind the Rally Challenge Mitsubishi of Caleb McDonald. But it was Tim McIver who was second fastest over the first 2 stages. This is the car that Hayden Paddon had used at the Otago Classic Rally back in April. And McIver was impressed with the improvements that Paddon had made to his Mark II Escort.
Yeah, no, it's great to have it out. The last person that was driving it was a heck of a lot faster than me, being Mr. Paddon, but he's done a fantastic job, I think, setting it up, getting back in it. Just felt so good today, so yeah, great to have it out.
Stephen Gill in third, and only 16 seconds down on McIver, so easily in touch with the leaders. Unfortunately, Andy Martin didn't get further than the start of stage 1 when a distributor rotor broke, ending his day. The smaller capacity historics of Pat Norris's Toyota and Mike Cameron's Mitsubishi continued to battle for their own honours. Norris led the Cameron Mitsubishi by stage 2, but the gap would remain consistent throughout the morning. On the power stage, Buist scored the 5 points for the stage win and extended his lead, while still remaining 7th outright in the NZRC standings, proving that a well-driven, well-prepared Escort can compete with the turbo four-wheel drives. McIver didn't quite have the pacer experience of Buist on these roads, but still held second place. But Stephen Gill was starting to close the gap to third, to 21 seconds. The final run through Mount Grey Road, and in these conditions there is no better car than a BDA Escort to race through the trees. Buist has IF 780 singing on the way to another historic victory, with just a race around the track at Ruapuna to go.
Yeah, it's definitely cool coming down Mount Grey.
Yeah, wouldn't be doing that very often?
No, not these days. No, but it's good. No, it's a good rally. It was good. It's good for a new rally for the championship. It's really good.
Yep.
McIver and Gill posted identical times through stage 8, but McIver's advantage over the earlier stages meant he would finish second to Buist. Third for Gill, to go with the 2 podiums he's scored in the previous rounds, so he remains the main threat to Buist in the historic championship. Pat Norris brought his Toyota AE86 home in 4th, battling an oil leak into the distributor all day. And Mike and Helen Cameron continued their personal rally adventure, finishing the stages, having fun and handing out lollies along the way. So confirming the historic class results. Buist from McIver, third place for Gill ahead of Norris and Cameron, but another DNF sadly for Andy Martin.
Next up from the heat inside the Hagland, we hit the snow and ice for a test of driver fortitude. Welcome back to the Brian Green Property Group New Zealand Rally Championship. This is Lone Star Rally Canterbury, supported by Joe's Garage, powering the NZRC team.
Like a multigrain on the other side.
Oh. Back at the International Antarctic Centre, the guys have left the driving behind and moved inside for a chilly challenge. Viewer discretion is advised here.
All right, inside there right now, it is -8 Celsius. This is a summer day for New Zealand's base in Antarctica. So, what happens is we make it dark and we make it windy. -8 will become -18 at the coldest. Now, this whole experience is only 5 minutes, and you can leave whenever you want. But if you leave early, I will laugh at you. So that is your challenge.
All right, so Subregs 1 tell us that every 15 seconds we've got to remove a layer of clothing. I clearly haven't read the regs. Tony, as a co-driver, you've read the regs. Not so sure about your drivers, though.
No, exactly. Good old Sparko gear, multiple layers. I think I'm in for a win.
This could get interesting.
Now! It's not even cold yet, Hitty. It's nothing more than just a bottle store at the moment. Have they turned it off? I'm not taking my jersey off. Nah. Good. That was close. Many, many layers of tops. He's going to miss the rally because he's sick. Yeah, it's going to get him.
Well, Ben Hunt, I've done a lot of interviews with you over the years, but this is quite something, isn't it?
Yeah, it'd definitely be the windiest and coldest. I think I'm a little bit underprepared here. I read the regs, I've still got layers to wear.
Well, Louis, Robbie Stokes told us that was quite cold. I'm not quite sure, but, you know, how does that really compare?
Honestly, that is not that cold. So if we go to the South Pole Station this morning, it was -45 Celsius. But it wasn't really, because inside there was -18 with the wind. At the South Pole this morning, with the wind, -65. Inside that room, that is nothing. That is summer.
Told you, Robbie.
Thankfully, the Canterbury weather was a lot warmer, so it's time to check out the battle for NZRC two-wheel drive and the open class. Bryn Jones and Tim Mackesy will once again lead the NZRC two-wheel drive cars, both looking forward to the first forest stage.
It's down to the conditions of the roads, you know, when we've done stages like Kakahu at the last event, you know, obviously it was a bit slippery and a bit tight and technical, and there's obviously a lot of areas I need to work on to perfect that. But obviously, you know, this weekend we've got a little bit faster and a little bit more wide open stuff, and it looks to be a little bit more consistent as well. So that's where we tend to shine a little bit more, and yeah, it's about giving the momentum up to these cars, and that's what I plan on doing.
We're close, but we're just always sort of on the wrong side. And looking back, like we've had quite a few stage wins, and then Bryn seems to pull out a couple of real good ones, and that makes the difference. Yeah, we'll just keep trying and keep hoping for a win, I think.
Another Fiesta in the rally, but Dylan Thompson's car has a 2.3 litre engine, so he'll compete in open two-wheel drive.
With Baden's commitments to Japan and everything, his schedule's real busy and he just couldn't get this weekend off. So yeah, we use it. Richard, the car owner's jumping in the car, and yeah, we just thought this was the best one. He's been in this car a few times, and yeah, as he's progressing with his note reading, this is the perfect sort of car to do it.
There'd been a good-hearted rivalry at South Canterbury between Jones and Mackesy about their pace in the forest. Jones took out the honours here.
I absolutely love this road. It's a bit like Rally Finland, so you just tip it in and just go for it. So, yeah, great start to the day. Everything seems to be all right. So, yeah, let's keep Tim behind us.
Mount Grey Road is a main arterial route, so quite different to the South Canterbury forest, but the advantage to Jones was just 4.7 seconds. And there's little separating the two drivers on stage 2 either. Remember, these two cars are identical M Sport Rally 4 Fiestas, same power unit and suspension, so really the small difference is just down to car setup. Tim Mackesy had made changes after round 2, and he found that he was getting much better grip on these stages. Was also welcome back to Japan's Fuyuhiko Takahashi in the third Fiesta Rally 4, and unfortunately he crashed out on stage 3 and was out for the day. On stage 3, Mackesy turned the tables to take the lead, but Jones struck back on stage 4 to hold a small 2.3 second advantage as they headed to the service at Cheviot.
Keeping it. Yeah, 100 at Sheds, flat 7 left now. Yeah. 400 after.
It's been an incredibly good start to the day. We've been battling quite a bit with Tim and that, but unfortunately there's a little bit of dust and that's sort of affecting us a little bit. I think all the other competitors are the same, but it's just these long, fast stages and that with the dust where you can't really see it makes it really tricky.
Yeah, those changes we sort of made are helping again, and the last few stages were really good. The 30k one, yeah, we took a bit of time out of him on that, so that was really good.
In the open two-wheel drive class, Dylan Thompson cleared out to the lead from stage 1. This car is very quick, and with Thompson's undoubted ability, it was nipping at the heels of the four-wheel drive cars. 200. It's a credit to Thompson that he is equally fast in a two-wheel drive or a four-wheel drive, and with the extra power and torque this car has, the results are impressive. But Dave Strong's challenge was finished in stage 1 when his crankshaft broke and he was out. Paul Cross in the little Corolla was no competition to the Fiesta, but as Thompson is new to this class, Cross would realise that with Strong out, he was going to score good points. But Thompson made a very rare mistake and rolled the car out of the rally on stage 3.
Are we okay? Yeah, we're okay.
So Cross could cruise home to a class victory, but he remained competitive throughout the day, with times on stage 7 and 8 less than a second slower than Stephen Gill in the Escort. It wasn't without drama, breaking an axle at Ruapuna and only just limping the car home to finish and take the win.
30.
Bryn Jones knows that to win the NZRC two-wheel drive title, he's going to need every point on offer. So fastest in the class here on the power stage means another 5 points to his tally.
Going left. 450.
This was one of the closest battles in the event. Mackesy picks up 4 points in just 4.2 seconds separating the two drivers after 5 stages and 84 kilometres of rallying. Here on stage 7, it's great to see how the organisers have clearly marked hazards, a stream or a pond. The message is clear that they want as many cars to finish undamaged as possible.
35 left minus.
But stage 8 saw a big drama for Tim Mackesy. The car snapped a turbo shaft and he was left to crawl through the stage, hoping to get to Ruapuna in stage 9 and then onto the finish at Lone Star Christchurch. Of course, Bryn Jones, unaware of the drama happening behind him, he pushed as hard as ever to get to the end and beat the two-wheel drive stage record.
Small crest 200.
So Bryn Jones takes another win in NZRC two-wheel drive. It was a crawl to the end for Tim Mackesy, but he made it to take second. Paul Cross, the only finisher in open two-wheel drive, he too limping home with a broken axle and lucky to make the finish. We'll take a break before heading north to our next round at Coromandel, which will see the return of another Skoda in the hands of Kingsley Jones.
The car's obviously got a lot of potential, and I'm probably not the driver to give it all of that. It was really good to see Zeal's growth from the first round through to the last and see where he came, and obviously had some good standout results. I always knew the car had the potential to do those results. A real pleasure to watch him grow and develop and someone to push it along. It's a 2016, so yeah, I got it in 2018, and so realistically, barring COVID, we've had it for 6-7 years now. So my motivation really was to have a cool car. Ultimately, that's what it was. So I'd been looking at WRC cars, primarily an ex-Ford Focus or something similar. Ultimately, getting parts for them was very, very hard. It was just a bit of a standout conversation I had with Lane from Race Talk in Australia, and Rana Horan had bought a car less than 2 minutes before I approached him, and then I was there. I said, have you got a Skoda for sale? He said, yep. And so then it was just a matter of finding the funding and making it work. Oh, don't get me wrong. I mean, I went out and watched the first test of Hayden in an AP4 car way back in the day when they were first built. We were excited. The genuine AP4s were an exciting thing. No one ever really factored into the fact that you could buy an R5 car comparatively easy, and the only thing that really went wrong with AP4 is there was no form of cost cap, and so ultimately the AP4 cars were expensive to build, although you paid for them in small increments, whereas the R5 car you paid for in one large sum. I think there's a few people out there that regret not buying an R5 when I did. So I'm really looking forward to the second half of the season for sure. Coromandel's amazing roads. Hopefully the roads are in mint condition. Bay of Plenty is awesome, and then Whangarei is going to go into some different roads, so that should be really good as well.
Next up, it's the battle for the top class in the championship as the Stokes brothers go for glory on their home turf.
Welcome back to the Brian Green Property Group New Zealand Rally Championship. This is round 3, Lone Star Rally Canterbury. 6 drivers lined up in Category 1 after the late withdrawal of Emma Gilmore, and 3 of those drivers from Canterbury hoping that local knowledge would give them the upper hand.
I'm just excited for my home rally back on the calendar. It's awesome, and to rally in front of friends and family and give back to for them supporting me through the years as well is just awesome. But yeah, the championship, we're still still well and truly in it, and our home roads. So I will definitely be pushing tomorrow.
There's been a lot of work going behind the scenes to try and resolve what happened at South Canterbury. So looking forward to this weekend. Pretty confident with knowing the roads and stuff like that. I've done them before, so yeah, it should be a good weekend.
For Hayden McKenzie, this event is more like a reboot for his season after 2 early DNFs.
And since South Canterbury, look, we've gone and we tested yesterday. The car feels really good, but it has felt really good prior to the last couple of rounds. It's just really, unfortunately, stupid breakages. We had obviously a drive shaft at Otago and then input shaft mid-stage 2 at South Canterbury. But look, the goal is that we're going to finish this one.
But the man they will all be chasing is championship leader Ben Hunt.
The men are on their way.
It's still early morning as Hunt sets off through the first stage, starting at the Ashley Forest Rally Sprint Road.
Flat 6 right plus opens 120. Keep it 6 right plus into short 6 left.
But here where the sprint turns right, the cars today are heading up the Mount Grey Road for a 13-kilometre roller coaster ride on this fast road through the forest. For Ben, the biggest challenge will be overcoming the local knowledge of Robbie Stokes, who grew up a few kilometres away and who has driven this road many times before. Hunt sets a stage time of 8 minutes 13.9 seconds.
What a good stage to start with. It's coming back to Mount Grey Road. What a road, eh? It's awesome. One of the better forestry stages in New Zealand, but yeah, we'll see what happens. It felt okay, so keep going.
3, 2, 1, go!
Stokes heads up the hill, confident that his car is now suited to him. Remember, this is just his 3rd rally in the Skoda. Wow, 16 seconds faster.
Oh geez, I went pretty fast at the start and I think I wore the tyres out pretty quick, but
Oh, that is so much fun. I love that piece of road, eh? First up, awesome. I'm awake now.
Jack Hawkswood returns with a new engine and a new co-driver in Jared Hudson, but not much experience on this rally. His time just 2.9 seconds down on Hunt. Jack Stokes has impressed so far in 2025, but he hasn't had results with some unfortunate DNFs.
60.
And this is his first run through the Ashley Forest in the powerful AP4 Fiesta, a huge step up from his two-wheel drive Fiesta in 2024. But he produced a solid result here, just 1.2 seconds down on Hawkswood. No one has more experience on this stage though than Josh Marston. And it's a good thing that Josh knows the road, because the 4 cars ahead have left a dust trail that is starting to build up, meaning that the pace notes are even more important. Josh would finish second on the stage.
I want to have a real good push up there. Like, I love that road, but still got a lot of gravel on the road, so all the entries are quite loose, so maybe a wee bit tidy would have been nice, but it's good fun. Shit, it's good fun.
Hayden McKenzie has had a tough start to the season, with just 4 stages under his belt over 2 rallies. So he and co-driver Kieran Anstis will be rapt to see the stage finish coming up. No issues, and a time within 30 seconds of leader, Robbie Stokes.
It's a 6 right plus. Yeah, that'll do.
We've made a few setup changes, so just not 100% sure how that's going, because we set up in tight stuff. This is obviously fast, but hey, the car's going, and that's a big thing for us this week, and we've just got to get a finish.
The crews would visit the North Canterbury town of Amberley for service, home to a weekend farmers market with a great selection of local produce. Then it's our morning feature stage, RDL performance stage 2, a 16.5k sprint, and the first of 3 stages before the next service.
Ben Hunt had 16 seconds to make up on Robbie Stokes, and unless Stokes had an issue, that was a big ask. So Hunt just had to hunker down and be consistent, hope that that time would come back over the day. With the lead after stage 1, Robbie Stokes now had the upper hand on the rest of the cars. He was leading, they were chasing, and he increased his lead here by 10 seconds. Josh Marston still held second place, but he was slower here than Ben Hunt, so the gap from Marston in second and Hunt in third was just 0.8 of a second. Jack Stokes made good time on this stage and moved into 4th, passing Jack Hawkswood and actually less than 10 seconds behind Hunt. Hawkswood had a clean run through this stage, but on the following stage he punctured after colliding with a rock and lost a minute driving slowly out of the stage. Hayden McKenzie enjoying the improved handling of his Yaris AP4. Jack Hawkswood had driven the car on a pre-event test, and the team had been able to make significant setup changes. The car was no longer going into snap oversteer, which had been making life difficult for Hayden. At the end of stage 3, he is happy, and now up to 4th place. McKenzie had passed Josh Marston on stage 3 when the Holden Barina stopped on the stage after hitting some rocks on a corner. It was a frustrating 4 minutes lost as he and co-driver Andrew Graves struggled to restart the car without really knowing what had caused the issue.
So as they head to service in Cheviot, Robbie Stokes leading by 16.7 seconds to Hunt, Jack Stokes in 3rd, Hayden McKenzie just 4.4 seconds clear of Hawkswood, with Marston having his work cut out in 6th. As the teams worked on the cars in the North Canterbury town of Cheviot, it was a frustration for Marston, as the car had performed faultlessly in the preceding stage.
In the second stage of the loop, we stopped for a minute. The car, boys are just having a look at the data now, so unfortunately we've dropped a bit of time. It was right after we hit a whole heap of rocks that had been pulled out on the road and smashed the sump guard and bashed the car around, so we're wondering if it's something related to that.
More familiar roads coming up, which is really nice. It's nice coming into a corner and sort of knowing what's on the other side for a change, and we're just having great fun and the car's going well, so yeah, everything's going good.
I think the Canterbury boys had a bit of local knowledge there and obviously knew where there was some time to be made, so we're sort of chasing our tail all day. Robbie's going amazing, and We got him in that long one there, so not quite enough, but yeah, we are pushing a lot of gravel out the way as well. So, but they obviously on the other side of that get a bit of dust, so probably much of the muchness.
A lucky break for Jack Stokes, however. His alternator had failed just as he drove into the service area.
Pretty happy to be here. We had a small issue, so pretty lucky to get here. Just managing that through the last 2 stages, but it seems like the alternator started to let go, so it was sort of losing voltage, and I think coming in here it was cutting it pretty close, so I think we got pretty lucky. But.
Next up was the power stage, event logistics stage 5.
With the NZRC title on the line at every event, Ben Hunt knows that he needs every point on offer. The power stage has 5 extra points up for grabs for the fastest car, down to 1 point for 5th fastest. This stage is 20 kilometres, so a good opportunity to make up some time on Robbie Stokes.
Keep it, 5 right through finish.
It's a new stage, so no records. Hunt crosses the line, 9 minutes 47.2 is the benchmark. Robbie Stokes also needs every point he can get if he wants to take the championship lead. He was 11 points behind Hunt at the start of the event, so an extra 5 here would be handy. Stokes is driving in Hunt's dust as we near the end of the stage. There is quite a thick gravel covering of the road, so Hunt has to plough through that as first car, but it's creating dust for the following drivers. Stokes cuts the beam at 9 minutes 45.5 seconds and takes the 5 points. Hunt was lucky to keep second fastest time. Buoyed by a stage win in the previous stage, Jack Stokes was just 0.3 of a second slower to be third fastest. These incredibly accurate times are recorded by the RallySafe system in each car, which uses satellite and GPS to record the stage times, speeds, and of course any safety issues if a car stops. Josh Marston, 4th fastest, 9 seconds behind Stokes Jr., but of course still 6th position after that time lost. And the final power stage point going to Jack Hawkswood with a 9 minute 59. That was 10 seconds faster than Hayden McKenzie in the other Toyota Yaris, and that was enough to move Hawkswood past him into 4th place. But here on stage 6, McKenzie was able to claim 4th position. This stage, Flooring Warehouse Rampaddock Road, is a classic Canterbury road where the cars are both at maximum speed and equally negotiating roller coaster cambered turns. It's one of the favourites in the area for competitors. But not for Jack Hawkswood. He was stuck in first gear for the final few kilometres of the stage and lost about 1 minute 20 seconds to McKenzie, dropping him back to 5th.
Just one gravel stage to go before the spectator stage around Ruapuna to finish. And what a stage! RD Petroleum Mount Grey Road in reverse, or as the drivers call it, Mount Grey Downhill. The road is in great condition and we're at the 8 kilometre point, 5 k's before the finish.
Hunt trailed Robbie Stokes by 14 seconds going into the stage. Realistically, only a problem for Robbie would give Hunt the win here. The gap has been around 14 seconds from the start of the day. Robbie has 3 stage wins to Hunt's 2 today. But Ben Hunt and Tony Ralston are multiple New Zealand champions. They both know that a championship is made up by consistency, points and patience. The stage finish here is on the Rally Sprint uphill road, and the fans have lined the road to cheer the drivers home. Ben's time, a new stage record, 7 minutes 38.7 seconds.
Well, I put my heart into that pretty fast coming back down there towards the Rally Sprint road. It's yeah, I don't know, we had a good day. You know, we lost 16 seconds in the first stage, so be going into there 14 seconds down. It obviously shows the public roads out that way we've had a good day, but see what happens. Robbie's drove awesome all day.
Robbie Stokes has won the Canterbury Rally 3 times previously, but never as an NZRC round. He has never won an NZRC rally despite being so close at Otago, both in 2024 and again in 2025. He knows that waiting for him at the rally end will be his family, including his father, former New Zealand champion Brian Stokes. But it's these moments that make champions. Putting the pressure aside and just being the best you can be. The finish is coming up, He's fastest again and sets the new record, 7 minutes 35.5.
I thought I drove like a wuss in there, but yeah, it's like curry bush. It's like heart and mouth stuff at the start line because you know what you're in for, but man, that is cool. That is so cool. Left a bit of time out there, but no, nonetheless, great fun, and yeah, get some more time on bend, did we?
Yeah, 3 seconds.
Awesome.
It would be a late rally scare for Jack Stokes. Fluid is leaking out on the right-hand side of the car as his power steering unit starts to fail at the halfway point of the stage. If the leak is not too bad, he should still have power steering at the end of the stage. But these cars with their high ratio steering are incredibly difficult to drive on the road if the power steering fails. Not only that, but the fluid is now smeared on the windscreen and he can't see much of the stage through it. So 7 minutes 54.4 seconds is a brave effort to hold on to third place. What might have been for Josh Marston? If it wasn't for that engine issue on stage 3, he should have been claiming that third place. The car had been faultless throughout the afternoon, and the team were mystified as to what had stopped the car. As it was, he would at least take 6th place points on his home event. Hayden McKenzie finally heading to a result at the end of a rally in 2025. Credit goes to him and his team for persevering in the South Island rounds, far from their Auckland base. And to cap it off, he's rewarded with 4th place.
5 right minus over finish.
Both Hayden and Kieran thrilled to get to the finish.
Whoosh. That's cool.
We had obviously a couple of issues early on, but the car's sort of redeemed itself, and yeah, no, it's going really well.
5th place for Jack Hawkswood. He could have also been fighting for the podium, but the puncture in the gearbox issue really cost him today.
Final stage was laps of the Euromark Raceway at Ruapuna Park. Fortunately, the only victims of misfortune here were the MRF Rally tyres, tortured on the tarmac as the drivers had some fun. So Robbie Stokes wins his first NZRC rally.
Well, it's the 4th time I've heard that, but first time in the championship, so I don't quite have any words now.
Man, that was really hard work, and basically did the last 2 laps with almost no power steering. So yeah, bloody stoked.
Confirming those results, Robbie Stokes takes the win by 12 seconds from Ben Hunt in 2nd. Jack Stokes losing a little time on the track, but still 3rd place ahead of Hayden McKenzie, Jack Hawkswood and Josh Marston. So the Stokes brothers on the Brian Green Property Group New Zealand Rally Championship podium together for the first time. It's Ben Hunt who continues to lead the points. Hunt has 98, Stokes closes the gap with 91, Josh Marston holding 3rd with 69, Dean Bewis 4th and leading the historic class, Hawkswood 5th just a point ahead of the leading NZRC 2-wheel driver in Bryn Jones, Tim Mackesy 7th and Stephen Gill 2nd in the historics in 8th. The Brian Green Property Group New Zealand Rally Championship takes a winter break now before heading to the North Island in the Gold Rush Rally Coromandel, based on the east coast town of Whitianga on August 23.